The next segment is courtesy of MedAesthetics Miami, located at the University of Miami Hospital. You can find us online at www.medaestheticsmiami.com or by phone at 305-356-7402. We are also on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Good afternoon. This is MedAesthetics Miami Rosanna's chat here with David Pataca from Syneron-Candela, and we will be talking about hair removal. And why hair removal? Because hair removal is one of the most popular procedures out there, and it has been proven that it enhances our self-esteem. So I thought it would be interesting to listen to what David has to say to us. So David, are you here with us today?
I am. Good afternoon, Rosanna and audience.
Thank you, David. Well, before I introduce you, I wanted to mention that you are the Senior Territory Manager for Florida and the Caribbean for Syneron-Candela, which is the largest manufacturer of lasers in the world. So having said that, David, I'm sure our audience is excited to hear what you have to say. And my first question to you is, what is FDA approval and why is that important? And how do you pick on a laser for laser hair removal?
So I think that's one of the most important questions facing the industry at this particular point in time in 2016, especially with a lot of the Groupons. Unfortunately, a lot of the retail market or the customers perceive that all these devices are actually legal or FDA cleared. And in fact, all of the devices that patients get treated on with lasers or IPLs, things like that, they're all FDA cleared or not. And in Florida in particular, there's an influx of devices from overseas that are not even FDA cleared to be sold, let alone used on patients in the United States. And the challenge with that is educating the patients so they know what to ask, to make sure they're asking any of the facilities that they're going to. But these devices often are much more inferior in quality. And not to mention the potential for increased adverse events to patients. So it is exceptionally important that patients educate themselves, that they ask the facilities that they've selected to go whether the device they're using is FDA cleared, to make sure that these devices have gone through the rigors of FDA clearance approval for safety and efficacy, and that they meet the highest standards here in the United States of America.
That's great. Is there a difference between FDA clear and FDA approval? And this is out of curiosity because I just happened to bump into something like that the other day.
Sure. In the world of pharmaceutical sales, where I came from before I joined Syneron-Candela in 2007, in pharmaceuticals, everything's approval or not approved. These are medications. In the world of devices, it's about clearance. So in some ways, it's splitting hairs in wordplay, if you will, but there are much more detailed definitions that I don't want to put my toe in that water, not right. Being and as familiar, but I could tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it
awesome.
is.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, so were you going to say something? Am I cutting you down?
No, you're fine.
Okay. My next question is it permanent? A lot of people want to know why do the hair keeps coming back? Is it going to keep coming back? How does it compare to waxing, Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Sure, that's the million-dollar question. And again, it comes down to educating the patients to make sure that they're aware that we are not allowed to say that it is permanent. We are allowed by the FDA to claim up to 95% permanent hair reduction. And for the simple fact that there are so many other mitigating circumstances that can cause unexplained hair growth, such as stress or medications, polycystic ovarian syndrome, tumors, adrenal gland issues. So there's so many issues that can cause unexplained hair growth and persistent hair growth, which can frustrate a patient. So if that is occurring, it's important to see their physician, whether it be an endocrinologist or their dermatologist, to get a little bit more of a workup on their labs and see if there's other things going on beyond just simple hair removal.
Okay, so in theory, people should expect a 90% hair reduction and then do touch-ups every year or something like that?
I think, to be fair, anywhere from 70 to 90% is excellent. I think that's realistic. And a touch-up, here and there, there's no problem with that.
Wonderful, wonderful. How about, is it safe on all skin types? That's the question that I get all the time. And I know the answer, but I think they should hear it from you, the expert,
Definitely not the expert. I would defer to all the specialists that are out there doing it. I'm trained thoroughly by the manufacturer and a bunch of mentors that I have, but it's important to know that not all devices are FDA cleared to treat all color skin. The 1064 Nd:YAG is FDA cleared. Some of the diodes are FDA cleared. The Nd:YAG, however, has the highest safety profile when treating skin of color, and it is exceptionally safe to treat. In fact, in the Caribbean, many of the islands, that's what they're using is the 1064 because of the safety profile. It takes a couple more treatments, but that's okay. It's an acceptable course of treatments that patients are willing to go through, as long as they know that their skin will be left intact and with the same color.
Got it. Okay, awesome. And what are effects or contraindications can people expect?
Every facility that a patient attends, they should look over the consent forms thoroughly. Some of the potential adverse events are from hyperpigmentation, which the skin can turn excessively dark. Usually it's temporary. The other side effects are hypopigmentation, where, again, it could be temporary. It could also be permanent, depending on how severe it is. That's often caused by inappropriate lasers being used on ethnic or skin of color.
Okay. All right. And of course, there's some medications that you have to be aware of that can cause photosensitivity and other issues.
Absolutely. There's a list of over 200 medications that are photosensitive. Accutane is the biggest one. It's actually a contraindication. The others are, proceed with caution, just to check in on the skin. It's always recommended to do a test pulse on an area that's not visible, and then see how the patient reacts if there's any question on certain medications.
Right. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else that you think is important for our audience to, know about today?
Sure. I think it's important to know that all these devices, they're not photomutagenic, which is to say they're not causing harm to patients, unlike certain, energy devices or when they get an MRI where they have to have appropriate protection, things like that. Lasers are not that. They're very, very safe. They've been in existence for decades. Commercially, though, we're just becoming aware of it more and more, really since the late 90s, early 2000s, when the med spas came about. So the industry is enjoying double-digit growth every year, and we are in the early stages of what will be a very large industry with safer and safer products coming to market, and it's only going to get bigger, which is exciting and safer.
Well, that's exciting. I wonder if, as we evolve as a species, if we're going to be hairless in the future. That's the question everybody keeps asking me. Or somehow people keep saying, are they going to come up with a machine that you could just go under it and get rid of all the hair in 1 second, Not have to go through this. Is it painful now that we're talking about that? What do you think about that?
It's that's something that can be subjective, but when it's done properly, nothing should ever be quote-unquote painful. The technician should be checking in with the patient, finding out where they are discomfort-wise, but there are some devices, and we have one, which is painless hair removal, but keep in mind, when you're getting treated with those devices, they're usually just for the first few treatments, and then eventually you do have to increase the energy to capture the finer, thinner hairs that remain with less color, because in the end, what we're doing is we're delivering light that gets attracted by color, which is the color and the pigment of the hair. And when it's absorbed, it converts to heat. That heat is the discomfort. So it can be customized in terms of the energy, and patients need to be vocal to let the provider know what they're feeling, whether it's a scale of 1 through 5, 5 being the most discomfort, something, just so the provider can know whether they need to raise or lower the energy for the patient's safety and efficacy.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you, David. I don't have any more questions unless you want to say anything else to our audience. I don't have any additional information, but I will really thank you for being with us today. I will be bringing you back in the future if you don't mind, because I think you're very knowledgeable, and we would like to talk about other devices as well. So anyway, we will be talking to you later, right? Thanks again, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you for listening. We are MedAesthetics Miami, located at the University of Miami Hospital. You can reach us online at www.medaestheticsmiami.com or by phone at 305-356-7402. We look forward to hearing from you and sharing our next segment with you.